All of us grew up watching TV shows that in one way or another shaped us. For most of us, Power Rangers inevitably makes that list. In my case, along with the likes of Tom and Jerry, Scooby-Doo, Courage the Cowardly Dog, Fairly Odd Parents, Avatar, Ben 10, Dragon Ball Z, Spider-Man's 1994 animated series. Man, did I have a happy childhood. Anyway, these shows were also accompanied by Power Rangers Jungle Fury, SPD, Ninja Storm, Mystic Force Samurai, Mighty Morphin, and obviously, DinoThunder. Power Rangers has essentially become a subgenre of my childhood, shaping me in ways that even I don't fully understand yet. I loved these shows as a young kid, and I have nothing but fond memories for them. And instead of letting these memories rest in their oh-so-magnificent form, I'm going to revisit the series that I remember the most, which is obviously Power Rangers DinoThunder. Now, I say that I remember the series the most, but to be honest, all I remember are the glowing rocks and fancy watches, which is like all the Power Rangers. So really, I don't remember anything. All I know is that I loved this stuff to death as a kid, and now I'm afraid that it won't hold up. I guess we'll see. Okay, I just saw what I think was the prologue, and right from the start, the show was already exceeding my expectations. Sure, there are sparks everywhere, but it's Power Rangers, come on. But the choreography for the fight was awesome to say the least, and the effects aren't too bad, especially for a show from 2004. The enemies are looking good, and the theme was a banger. So far the show is great, and it's only been like 45 seconds, which probably doesn't mean much, but I'm hoping for the best. I just finished episode 1 and it wasn't bad. I found the very 2004 dialogue I was looking for, but it stayed relatively self-aware, and it even had some great dialogue and quips throughout. There's this one point where Mr. Oliver, the sensei-type character we met from the prologue, was running away from a dinosaur, and he gets in his car and locks the car door and says,
"Great, yeah, lock the door, Tommy, real good."
The choreography stayed good throughout, but the acting was pretty not great. All the characters were classic 2000s stereotypes: the sports jock who goes out with girls, the nerd who uses computers, the hipster girl who sings, the super uptight principal who totally isn't supposed to be the bad guy, and so on. Really, it's all just good fun, and I can really see how this got my attention as a kid. Now we've hit the jackpot. Episode 2 was a real Power Rangers episode. Our three main protagonists finally became Power Rangers. Our Chad Red Ranger with the Tyrannosaur, the nerdy Blue Ranger with the Triceratops, and the hipster Yellow Ranger with the Pterodactyl. This episode's story was a mess, but that's not what we were supposed to pay attention to. Multiple times during the episode I laughed out loud, saying to myself, yeah, that's Power Rangers. It was a good episode that really kicks off the series' Power Rangers formula. Introduce the bad guy, have them fight some grunts, the bad guy seems defeated, bad guy powers up and gets big, the Power Rangers finish the job with a Megazord. Classic Power Rangers shindig and one fun ride. With everything, and I do mean everything, there's one thing that people will always bring up to make it seem so much more worse than it is. Trump supporters have other Trump supporters, anime has its questionable tropes, Muslims have ISIS, and comics have the 90s. For Power Rangers, it would have to be episode 10 of DinoThunder, except Power Rangers really doesn't have any enemies. So no one has really brought it up until now, because we need to talk about this one. This has everything you could be looking for: an over-the-top plot, over-sexualization, a ridiculous bad guy, logical plot points, nutty powers. This list doesn't end, so instead I'm just gonna get to the explaining. This very hot and very popular actor, Nikki Valentina, is shooting at her set when Mesogog sees her and says that she's
the perfect specimen.
After the latest creation is a dud.
We have just finished a new genetic creation we call Megalodor. We combine the cunning elements of a shark with the toxicity of the oleander flower.
Then we throw in some extra car parts for fun.
Well, let's see it.
Dino randomizer engaged.
It worked.
Fools.
So Nikki gets kidnapped and the Power Rangers try to stop it, unsuccessfully so. And the guys get zapped with a beam that gives them pimples. While the Rangers are looking for Nikki, she escapes by stomping on Zeltrax's armored foot and running.
Ow! My toes! Stop!
As her captors chase her, the Power Rangers stop them only to have to fight the giant Megalodor at the end. Megalodor creates a huge tsunami, so naturally the Power Rangers take the Megazord surfing and defeat Megalodor, stopping the tsunami. Obviously. Okay, what were these guys smoking? Because if it's anything other than the strongest weed you can buy, I'm calling this a true story. You can't make that up sober, alright? I know this was a nutty episode, but in all seriousness, not everything about this is absolutely crazy. Megalodor was created due to a lack of proper resources. And it teaches the valuable lesson of how it's not good to idolize celebrities, and that sometimes meeting your heroes isn't what you would want. Yes, this episode was goofy, but it also had heart, like all of Power Rangers. So, I just watched Power Rangers DinoThunder, and it was a trope-filled, wholesome, nearly brainless show with magnificent action and writing that's almost bad. But what matters is that the show is fun. No matter how you look at the show, you're going to find loads of fun. The heavily played into tropes and the writing give you all the laughing material you're ever going to need. And the action is actually great to watch and always finds a way to surprise me. The story, although absurdly simple, serves its purpose. The story being that Mesogog wants to revert the Earth back to, you guessed it, the Mesozoic era. Why? I don't know. All that matters is that the Power Rangers have to stop him. He's the clear evil that the Rangers must defeat. For a children's show, this works perfectly. Almost every episode is standalone and has some minor unique conflict within it. But when we get to the episodes that aren't exactly standalone, that's when the series gets great. Article 1. Out of 2. The Evil White Ranger arc. It's unironically the best thing about this show. This arc harbors the most intense drama and the best reveals throughout the entire series. Sure, that's not saying much, but it's definitely enough to hook me. Trent's conflict with the White Dino Gem taking over him was an actual uncertainty. I honestly thought that he'd win, seeing he's a staple ranger, but before that happens he succumbs to the gem for a long time. The Rangers trying to help their friend, Trent, while fighting the White Ranger? Trent was another layer of drama that only got better when the Rangers learned that Trent is the White Ranger. There's a lot more that I can bring up, but to be completely clear, this arc made me realize that what I was watching is literally live action anime for kids. And that's the best and most I can do with that explanation. If you watch some Power Rangers, you'll see it. And the second and last article of this show rising to greatness, the Ninja Storm crossover, Hasbro's stroke of genius. If you get 1 million Rangers to transform together, you can probably sell 1 billion toys. Alright, but in all seriousness, having the Ninja Storm Rangers get mind-controlled by their bad guy to fight the Dino Rangers only to get turned back and fight with them was a stroke of genius. The fights were awesome, but the cherry on top was seeing Mesogog fight the Ninja Storm bad guy. It's sad that we only see him fight in that form once. More on that later. Not as good as the Evil White Ranger arc, but a whole lot of fun to watch. And finally, we can talk about the finale. It was just okay. This time, the Rangers make the first move by driving the Power Rangers truck that I remember having as a kid into Mesogog's lair to blow it up. After that mission ends successfully, they have to defeat the best villain in the entire show, Zeltrax. But in order to do that, the Rangers had to sacrifice their Zords. It was a good moment that had some honest weight to it. Right after that, the Rangers face off with Mesogog in person. Mesogog transforms into this beast, which is such a bummer, cause the entire show was building up to this fight and we barely got to see him fight in his normal form. But there was only 10 minutes left and they had to sell more toys, so what are you gonna do? The Rangers defeat Mesogog by doing the Dino Kamehameha, which fries all of their gems and leaves them as normal kids. After all that, everyone goes to the prom and gets a surprisingly satisfying ending. All the characters have clearly grown since episode 1, and you really feel it. This show obviously isn't pushing any boundaries or making any statements, but as a 5-year-old, you can learn the valuable lesson that no matter how different people are, you can always get along. Along with each episode's unique moral, best of which is bad is not always different, because in episode 19, which is completely worth the watch if you're not going to watch any of Power Rangers DinoThunder, watch this episode. In episode 19, the Rangers watch a Japanese TV series about them, which the show they watch teaches about greed and how it's bad, while the show we watch teaches about how things that are different aren't necessarily bad, and it's my favorite offshoot episode. I love it. If Power Rangers was a part of your childhood, which let's be honest, it is, I recommend you watch whichever series you remember most fondly. Doing this was pure enjoyment. It flooded me with nostalgia and made me feel like a kid again. I can't guarantee you'll receive the same response I did, but if you do watch some Power Rangers, I'm sure it'll be great. I just wanted to say a few things. So, I had almost too much fun making this video, and I've decided that I want to start doing YouTube. The goal isn't to get big, but that's definitely a perk. Really, I just want your support, so please watch me grow, share this if it's good, and if it sucks, don't pull your punches. To me, every view means something, so you mean something to me. So thank you. Especially if you've gotten this far in the video. I don't know why you wouldn't have clicked off yet.